Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Paw, and I am the managing editor of CBR.com.
And I'm Ben Kendrick, the publisher of ScreenRant.com.
And together, we are The First Rule. This is a podcast where we break the first rule of the internet by going through all of our social media channels and reading the comments for some reason. Join us on our mission. You've been catching up with The Boys, and you're enjoying it so far, right?
I am. Yeah, somehow I missed The Boys. Like I was familiar with the comics. When I saw the original trailers, I was like, this is a show that I would like. But I think like Umbrella Academy came out around the same time last year or like something like that. And I never quite synced up with it. And people kind of stopped talking about it because didn't they drop a lot of season one like at the same time? Or did they do it week by week?
Yeah, like I think they did kind of, like let everything go at one go,
Yeah.
or at least most of it.
That's
Um,
you and my criticism of that is this exact thing. It's like once that moment was gone, so maybe I was 2 weeks behind, but then no one was talking about it after that,
yeah,
like it was still in the ether, but like I feel like this season I'm so much more aware of it because like we're covering it week to week. We're, doing kind of like feature articles about it. So yeah, I finally got around to watching most of the first season. I'll probably be caught up in about a week and a half, I figure, at the rate I'm going.
okay. All right. Let me ask you this question because we posed it. I think a lot of people have been asking it. I think as a pastiche of the character, it's almost a given. Who would win in a fight between Homelander and Superman? Now, let me qualify this,
Yeah.
if I may. So we wrote an article by Becca Leave. Thank you, Beck, for putting this up. Who says, who's the most OP superhero, Homelander or Superman? So he phrases it that way. However, within the article, he says, quote, to simplify this theoretical, only the film versions portrayed by the beloved Henry Cavill and Anthony Starr, respectively, will be considered. So we're basically saying who will win between Homelander on the Boys series, not the comic, and Henry Cavill of Man of Steel. Go.
I will say this. I mean, obviously, like the character is like supposed to be like a carbon copy of Superman, right? So from that standpoint, like I would say that they're either equal or that even Henry Cavill's Superman is more powerful because he's the original of which this is the copy of. However, I would say that it's clear that Homelander's lack of restraint um like might make him more powerful, right? Like Henry Cavill, I mean, however we feel about Man of Steel and all the buildings that Henry Cavill was partially responsible from knocking to the ground, um, I feel like Homelander, like if he got in a fight with Superman, like it would be no holds barred, like he would be out for blood, and as a result of that, he might be more powerful
Hmm.
because Superman will be like held back by his humanity.
Interesting. Interesting. I will say that I think the comparison between the two that Beck was doing here makes a lot of sense because it's quite clear from at least season two, which you're not into yet, but I think you've seen some of the collaterals for are basically riffing off of Zack Snyder's Justice League,
Okay.
right? Like they're calling this like I think the Dawn of Heroes. Like they have this whole thing where it's like the Seven, and this isn't spoiling anything.
Yeah.
It's like the Seven instead of the Justice League Dawn of Heroes, and
Okay.
there's a part in it that's like pitching this whole movie. And so I think that even their costumes, which have like the like cells or I don't know scales on them, kind of
Yeah.
are indicative of Zack Snyder's stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of taken from that. So, but I think that's a fair assessment to take the Homelander and the Man of Steel by Henry Cavill. And I don't think you're wrong. I'm just going to give my kind of thoughts on the end.
Yeah.
So the first comments that we kind of get from Jorge Valdez, which is just who the hell is Homelander? And I want to thank Jorge for really committing to really wanting to make a comment
Yeah.
because even though he didn't know who Homelander is and was posited with this question, still commented. And
Yeah.
I appreciate you, Jorge, and I appreciate everybody like you for doing that because
Like scrolled past the article that would have had like the pictures and stuff like that in it just to be like, well, they asked me a question and I'm going to answer it by golly.
yeah, I'm going to answer your question with a question.
Yeah.
How about you tell me the premise of your
Did
question?
anybody reply to that comment? Like,
A couple of people did, yeah. There's an Alexander who just said the Superman analog from The Boys, and Jorge says, "Oh, okay," and that was it. That was like the conversation that they had. Like it's amazing, and like so many people do that. They just kind of comment, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's almost sweet in a way,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's kind of like I don't know what you guys are talking about, but
yeah.
I'm here. Damn it, I'm
Yeah.
here, and
It's kinda
I'm
yeah,
here
it's
for
kinda
you.
like all your friends are sitting around having, like, a nerdy conversation, and someone comes running up, and they're like, "Hey, what are you guys talking about?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like, the
Actually, that's a good point.
commenting equivalent of, like, maybe he'll go watch The Boys now, and he'll become, like, affiliate with the show. That's,
Maybe he'll really like it. Yeah.
yeah.
Then we get mostly. This is the comment, and I think that interestingly, this is where most of our commenters veered. From Joshua Bassett, who just says Superman would destroy Homelander, and I think a lot of folks who would think that kind of thought the same thing that you quashed in the very first like thing that we like topic that we're talking about. In that, like, there's so many versions of Superman that yes, of course, Superman would destroy Homelander because if you really got down to it, there's so many godlike versions of Superman. Like
Yeah,
Superman is Superman. Like Superman can beat anybody.
yeah,
But the Henry Cavill one is a bit different. He had to really reach down and kill somebody. Like he is an untrained Superman, which I think kind of veers into my point, but also some of the others.
yeah,
There's another one, Doug Rogers, who says, "Well, that's easy. Homelander would have had to make many trips to save everyone on the plane." Now, this is spoilers for anybody who has not seen season one, but I won't go into it too much. Superman would have just carried the whole plane easily, so Superman is way more powerful. To that, Adam Seth Herrera says, that situation isn't about power, it was about controlling power. Both characters could destroy the plane, but Superman is the one who would control his flight and strength enough to save the plane without destroying it. Interestingly, like this is a point that was made by a lot of people. So there's a point in season one where Highlander, Homelander, and
Highlander!
the quickening, Homelander and Maeve, who's just Maeve, not Queen Maeve, in this encounter a terrorist situation where a plane has been taken over and it's going down, and they makes a series of decisions in that entire encounter that does not end particularly well for anybody. But they do not stop the plane, I will say, in the way that Superman classically does, not only in the Brandon Routh version, but also in, I think, the Christopher Reeve version. Oh, maybe that was a helicopter. But for the most part, like Superman is seen stopping planes in the mid tracks. But what's interesting is that scene in the Homelander comics, there's a whole point where it's like you can't just stop a plane that's going down. That physics does not work that way. Like,
Yeah,
and so Homelander and the boys are dealing with a very different kind of set of situations, if that makes sense.
yeah. Yeah, he says there's
But
nothing for him to, like, push up on in order to lift the plane, which I
yeah,
guess is I my head was kind of trying to process, like, the limitations of his powers relative to Superman in that case too, but, like, even before we were talking about this, when I was watching the show, and I just saw that episode, like, a day or so ago, like, I had that thought where I was like, "It's really interesting, but does that actually make sense?" Because he can, like, float around, so, like, why can he float around but not lift? Like, it's sort of yeah, I don't know. My brain starts to hurt when I try and unpack it too much, but
yeah, and like, and basically, if he tried to get the tail of the thing and grab the tail, it would rip off so
yeah,
that he wouldn't, like, the rest of the plane would get going. So he was kind of like, well, screw all this. Like, I
yeah,
got nothing. Like, where Superman would have found a way to do it. And
yeah,
I will get to that in a second. One more thing, real quickly. Marcos Maluf says Homelander, his powers are not dictated by the sun. Superman is also subject to the effects of radioactive rock. So he's basically saying that Homelander does not have weaknesses like Superman does. So
yeah.
he's in kind of your camp
I was gonna
at the
ask you
moment.
that if like there's a Homelander kryptonite or anything like that. But before you tell us, I
Yes.
want to know what Greg. So Greg, Superman, Henry Cavill Superman versus the TV show Homelander. Who wins?
Wow, I mean, you guys have made some very good points, and I'm glad that the article says Henry Cavill Superman, because Henry Cavill Superman is the only Superman we've seen who actually got his hands a little dirty,
Mm.
True.
at the end of that movie, which has been a topic of discussion by many a fan. Because obviously, if it was Christopher Reeve Superman, it's a very different Superman.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I at first, when I first considered it, Ben, I was where you were. I'm like, Homelander has no morals. He has nothing holding him back. He will just go all out and he'll kill because he kind of enjoys it.
Yeah.
And Superman, well, he won't do that. But at the same time, like you said, Superman is Superman. He's not a genetically engineered baby who was given some drug to become a superhero. He's an alien. He has been Superman since he was a baby. He gets his power from the sun. Like, I think in terms of who's more powerful, Superman is more powerful. Who is more ruthless and who's more willing to use their power for bad? Well, Homelander. Um, I think in the long run, Superman would not allow somebody like Homelander to win because Superman is Superman. He's a good guy, and Homelander, well, he ain't the good guy. So my vote, as much as I do think Homelander would give it his all, I think Superman's still gonna
That's a
take the
pretty good
trophy
point.
home.
Maybe the
Hmm.
most powerful thing about Superman is that he would find a way, and that's sort of what you were saying a bit too, Steve, right? Like,
He would, but
but
we're not talking about that Superman. We're not talking about. Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you for your 2 cents. We're talking about Henry Cavill Superman, and the one thing that Greg mentioned there is that I don't know if he wouldn't kill him. Like Henry Cavill Superman straight up killed somebody who was basically that universe's version of Homelander, not exactly, but like
I see the
unchecked
parallel.
power. Yeah, like, and what did he do? He snapped him off neck. Sorry, Greg. But like he did. He really did. And he just like kind of ended it. And he thought he was too evil for that world. Now, what I will say real quickly, where I come down on all of this before I finish with a couple of other comments that I thought were just kind of great. I don't. I think that Henry Cavill Superman would win. Who is more OP? I think that Henry Cavill's Superman is more OP, if we're going back to the actual kind of like article's suggestion. But I do think that who would win in a fight? Henry Cavill, because he would go that extra mile. Like everybody's saying that Homelander is more ruthless, more vicious. But first of all, Superman fights people who are more ruthless and more vicious than him all the time. And it never ever stops him from stopping them. But especially this character, he just snap checks and snap next write checks or whatever, and that was it. And
Get like Snyder. Where you're like,
yeah,
yeah, that's it. It's like,
I think he just like
yeah,
making that money and just like actually snapping everybody's neck as he's going along. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't like. I think that that's probably how it would turn out. I do think it's kind of interesting that though neither of them really have training as such, and one of them is a little baby child in the Homelander, and one of them is just a baby child trying to do right, but who has, to Greg's point, grown up as a superhero and has grown up right as a superhero. So I think that's ultimately I'll go with Soups because I just kind of think that's I don't know. I'm a Superman guy.
I like both of your I like both of your arguments. They're very nuanced. Like I like
Oh,
that as a
I read
you guys believe in
comics.
your Superman.
What can I say?
These are the things I spend lots of time thinking about,
Yeah,
guys. Lots
that's
of time.
true. Greg is a Superman guy too. You're a Superman guy, so you. I feel like ultimately you're going to come down on Soups' side too.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a couple more comments randomly that we got here. Byron Box says this is like asking who would win in a fight between Batman's parents versus a gun.
Okay.
I don't
So
know what that means, Byron.
I'm assuming what he means is that Superman is the gun and Homelander is the parents who are about to be like murdered.
I guess.
Given the fact that Homelander is a murdering psychopath,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know, it's mixing the metaphors a little bit here for me.
It's just a bit strange, Byron. Like Byron, I understand kind of what you're going for here, and like that one it would just rip through the other, and maybe just leave a pearl necklace everywhere. Stop it. But I think it would just I don't know. It's a weird one, Byron, but I appreciate your comments. I really like it. And then in this other, there's an ecosystem that exists in the comment section. Who would win in a fight, or who is more OP between Highlander and Superman? A bunch of people, such as Joshua Coda, Matthew A. Williamson, and Logan Murray, just said Goku. It was just a write-in vote. It was just Goku from Dragon Ball. It's like, I don't care. It's Goku. It's like, all right. Like, two of them left gifs of just Goku, just giving the thumbs up, or like Ultra Instinct Goku, and just someone wrote Goku. Just wrote Goku. I was like, all right, cool.
I like that you had write-in votes. That's so.
I love
that's
that.
So democratic.
I love that. There's an article too that went up as one of our illustrious lists that went up. It's like, who would win in a fight between Winter Soldier, Nightwing, and Chewbacca? I don't know, but I want to see that fight now. And now I want to see Goku versus Homelander versus Superman. So
that is a pretty I have to see the results of that as well, because you're right. I do want to see that now, and I'm curious what people would say.
I think we all know, but I'm not going to answer it.